Can you time travel? Time travel is the concept of movement between certain points in time, either going forward to the future or backwards to the past. Time travel has been a concept for years because people either want to visit the past to fix mistakes or see what life is like in the future. It has appeared in many books and movies, either as an interesting plot device or the writers were running out of ideas. However, the problem with time travel is the idea of the time paradox. The time paradox is the logical contradiction associated with the idea of time and time travel. Stuff that cannot physically happen or naturally occur can exist and mess up time itself. To help us explain these paradoxes, this is Paul.
Hello.
Paul will be our time traveler. And this is Jeffrey.
Hello.
Jeffrey is the one who built the time machine. Paradox example number 1, the grandfather paradox. Target, Paul's father, Dave.
Is the time machine functional?
Yes, it is working.
Okay.
Hello, who is this?
This is the future calling. They want you dead.
What? Who are you?
I am sorry, father, but the future needs you eliminated.
This is an example of the grandfather theory.
Hello.
What happens if you go back in time and kill either your grandfather or your father? What happens to you? You were never born because your father died before he met your mother. But you still went back in time and killed him. So who was it that killed your father?
Hello.
Was it
Who
you?
is this?
But you couldn't have
This is the
existed.
future calling. They want you dead.
What?
Paradox example 2, the Inventor Paradox. Target, destroy the time machine before Jeffrey builds it.
I'm almost finished with my time machine, I just need more supplies.
I'm sorry, I know you worked hard on it.
Where did it go? Oh well, I will start another project.
Ignoring the fact that Jeffrey gave up really easily, this is an example of the Inventor Paradox. Paul goes back in time with Jeffrey's time machine and destroys the time machine while Jeffrey is still creating it. But that's not possible because if Jeffrey didn't actually make the time machine, then how could Paul go back in time? But Paul did go back in time and destroy the time machine. But how is that possible if Jeffrey never made the time machine because Paul blew it up? That's confusing. Paradox example 3, the Shakespeare Paradox. Target, give Shakespeare his own work before he even writes it. Let's say Paul was tired of his time travel murder and he wants to do some reading.
I enjoy Shakespeare.
So Paul goes to his local bookstore and picks up every single one of Shakespeare's plays, books, and sonnets.
This is so funny. Ha.
Paul is so enthused by Shakespeare's work that he goes back in time with his time machine to go and visit Shakespeare before he even writes the books. When Paul actually meets Shakespeare, he gives him all the books that he bought at the bookstore that were written by him. And because of this, Shakespeare bases all his plays, sonnets, and books off of what Paul gave him. So Shakespeare's plays are based off the knowledge that Paul gave him, but Paul's knowledge are derived from Shakespeare, but Shakespeare derived his knowledge from what Paul gave him, but Paul got the knowledge from Shakespeare. So this proves that if this happened, the books of Shakespeare would have no origin point, which is physically impossible. While I might believe that time travel is one of the most interesting plots in movies, television shows, and books, it might as well bring about the apocalypse if it was ever invented in real life. I only gave 3 examples of what could possibly be thousands of paradoxes that could result from anyone having a time machine. It could literally bring disastrous effects to our modern world if someone invented time travel and made one of the paradoxes come true. All the acts of Paul and Jeffrey were meant to explain the confusing time travel paradox. If they happened in real life, it would be an absolute catastrophe, with time itself breaking apart and shattering. Despite the ramifications that a real time machine would have, people are still interested. People still want to know what would happen in the future or how they can fix the past. People will always be interested. And time travel will stay with us in movies, TV shows, and books, most likely for the rest of time.
Paul, is that a time machine?
I am not the Paul you know.